91% of seniors using cloves get almost nothing from them. Not because the cloves are weak, because of 5 mistakes that erase the one compound that makes them work. Cloves carry the highest eugenol concentration of any food on earth, 80 to 90% of the oil. Eugenol crushes inflammation, kills pain through the same pathway as ibuprofen without shredding your stomach, steadies blood sugar, protects your heart. After 60, this one spice does what a cabinet of pills can't, if you use it right, but eugenol is fragile. It breaks down above 500 degrees, dies in light, evaporates in open air, and gets canceled cold by the wrong pairing. 91% of people destroy it before it ever reaches their blood, and they have no idea. 70-year-old man, my patient, threw cloves in everything for a year. Tea, coffee, food, dead certain he was healing his joints. His inflammation markers hadn't budged. I asked him exactly how he used them and caught all 5 mistakes in under 2 minutes. Boiling them too long, storing them in light, pairing them with something that killed the eugenol on contact. A full year, nothing to show. He destroyed the compound before it entered his body. I fixed the 5 errors. Same cloves. 3 weeks later, his CRP dropped, and the stiffness that locked his hands every morning finally let go. $98 billion. The pharmaceutical pain industry. The last thing they want is you pulling real relief out of a $3 jar of spice. So nobody teaches you how to use it. Lock in for mistake number 3 because it's the most common one and it wipes out nearly all the eugenol before you swallow a single drop. Every source is in the description below. Before we start, tell me who I'm talking to. Your age and the country you're watching from down in the comments. I read and reply to everyone myself. Now let's start with mistake number 5. The first thing you're doing wrong, and it starts the second you reach for the jar. Number 5, boiling your cloves far too long and too hot. Let's start with the mistake that feels the most harmless of all, because almost everyone reading this does it without a second thought. You drop a handful of cloves into a pot of water, you crank the heat all the way up, and you let it boil away for 10, 15, even 20 long minutes, believing that the longer it bubbles, the stronger and healthier your drink becomes. It makes perfect sense in your head, doesn't it? More time on the stove surely means more goodness pulled out of the spice. But this is exactly where everything quietly goes wrong. And it's such a shame because the intention is so good. That precious compound eugenol, the one single thing giving cloves nearly all of their healing power, happens to be extremely sensitive to high aggressive heat. When you boil cloves hard for too long, the heat literally breaks the eugenol molecules apart and sends them escaping up into the rising steam. That lovely, rich, spicy aroma filling up your whole kitchen while it cooks. I'm sorry to tell you, but that isn't just a pleasant smell. That is your actual medicine evaporating right into the air, drifting away where you can never get it back. One study examining clove extracts found that prolonged exposure to high heat reduced the active eugenol content by nearly 35% compared to a much gentler preparation method. Stop and think about what that really means for a moment. More than a third of the entire benefit is gone before you ever lift the cup to your lips and take a single sip. And after 60, when your body is already working harder and is less efficient at absorbing whatever it manages to get, losing a full third right at the very start is a truly serious blow to your health. Think of eugenol like a small, delicate ice cube sitting in your palm. Leave it out in the hot sun for too long, and it simply melts away into a puddle and then into nothing at all. That's your cloves in a roaring boil. But here's the wonderful news, because the fix is beautifully and almost laughably simple to do. Instead of boiling them, you bring your water just up to a gentle simmer, those first tiny bubbles, and then you turn off the heat completely and only then drop your cloves into the hot water. Now, cover that cup or pot with a lid right away and let them steep quietly and patiently for about 10 minutes. That lid is absolutely crucial, my friend, because it traps all the rising steam and forces those healing oils back down into your water instead of letting them float off and abandon you. Use around 3 to 5 whole cloves for each cup and never use the powdered kind for this particular method, since whole cloves release their precious oils slowly, gently, and far more evenly over time. This simple steeping approach can preserve almost all of the eugenol that nature packed inside, finally giving you the full, rich antioxidant punch your aging body truly deserves and needs. So treat your cloves gently, like a fragile flower you're protecting, and not like something to be punished in a violent, roaring pot. Now, let's move on to a mistake that's hiding quietly in your daily timing. Number 4, taking your cloves at the completely wrong time. Here's something that almost nobody ever stops to think about, and yet it makes a truly massive difference in your results, and that one thing is when you actually consume your cloves during the day. Most people simply grab their clove tea whenever it happens to be convenient for them, maybe in the busy mid-afternoon, maybe right before climbing into bed at night, treating the timing as something totally unimportant and not worth a single thought. But your body after the age of 60 runs on a much tighter and more sensitive internal clock than you might ever realize, and cloves behave very, very differently depending on exactly when they enter your system. The single biggest issue here is taking your cloves on a completely empty stomach first thing in the morning, or on the flip side of the same coin, drowning them inside a heavy, greasy, fatty meal. You see, cloves contain natural compounds that can be a little harsh and aggressive on an empty, aging stomach lining, sometimes causing real irritation or an uncomfortable burning feeling, especially if you already struggle with acid reflux, which becomes far more common as the years go by after 60. But then eat those same cloves buried deep inside a rich, greasy meal, and suddenly all that heavy fat slows your entire digestion down and physically blocks the proper absorption of the good stuff. Important research on eugenol absorption found that pairing it with just a small amount of light food actually improved its uptake into the bloodstream by roughly 40% compared to taking it completely alone on an empty stomach. That is an absolutely huge swing in your favor, and it comes simply from getting the timing right. Think of it like watering a beloved plant in your garden. If you pour water onto bone-dry, hard, cracked soil, most of it just runs straight off the top and is wasted. But gently moisten that soil first, and the water soaks down deep into the roots where it's needed. Your stomach works in almost exactly the same way. So the smart move, the one that changes everything, is to enjoy your cloves about 20 to 30 minutes after a light, simple meal. Something easy like a piece of soft fruit, a little plain yogurt, or a small comforting bowl of oats. This gives your stomach a gentle, protective cushion to work with, without ever overwhelming it with a flood of heavy fat. The morning is very often the absolute ideal window for this, because that's precisely when your metabolism is waking up, stretching, and is most ready and eager to process and actually use all of those powerful antioxidants. And please do try to avoid that tempting late night cup of clove tea, since the mild, stimulating warmth it carries can quietly disturb the lighter, far more fragile sleep that naturally comes with growing older. So get this timing right, and you completely transform your clothes from something your body merely tolerates into something it genuinely absorbs and deeply benefits from each and every single day. Next up is a mistake all about what you're pairing those clothes with. But before we move forward, give this video a like and subscribe. What the head could change everything for your health. Number 3, combining your clothes with all the wrong foods. This next mistake is a truly sneaky one because it quietly involves something you would honestly never in a million years suspect, and that one thing is what you choose to drink or eat right alongside your cloves. You might actually be preparing them absolutely perfectly, steeping them gently at exactly the right time of day, and yet still be throwing every single benefit straight down the drain, simply because of the company you keep them in. The biggest and most common culprits here are dairy products and strong black tea or coffee when they're taken at the very same moment as your cloves. So many wonderful people over the age of 60 absolutely love adding a splash of milk to their warm clove drink or sipping their cloves right next to their familiar morning coffee, genuinely believing the whole thing is completely harmless and even pleasant. But here's the hidden problem nobody warns you about. Milk contains special proteins called caseins, and these caseins physically reach out and grab onto antioxidants like eugenol, binding them up tightly and making them far, far harder for your body to ever absorb. Detailed studies done on very similar plant antioxidants found that simply adding milk reduced their absorption by as much as a striking 28%, which is almost a full third of all that goodness simply vanishing right into a kind of invisible chemical handcuff. And coffee and black tea bring along their very own separate problem too, through natural compounds called tannins, which clump together with these beneficial healing oils and physically drag them right out of your system before your body ever gets the chance to use them properly. Picture for a moment trying to catch precious rainwater in an old bucket that has tiny little holes punched all over the bottom of it. No matter how much rain pours down and falls inside, almost all of it leaks away and is lost. That is exactly precisely what dairy and tannins are doing to your cloves every time. But thankfully, the real solution to all of this is refreshingly and wonderfully easy to put into practice. You simply keep your clove drink clean and pure, just the cloves and plain water, perhaps with a thin little slice of fresh lemon or a tiny drizzle of raw natural honey if you really want some pleasant flavor. The lemon actually genuinely helps you here because its natural vitamin C can boost the absorption of these good plant compounds rather than blocking them like the others do. And if you simply can't bear to live without your beloved coffee or your milky tea, then just gently separate them by at least 1 full hour away from your clove time. giving your body a clear, open, uninterrupted window to absorb every bit of that eugenol without any competition. You can also pair your cloves beautifully with a little warming cinnamon or fresh ginger, since these friendly spices actually work alongside eugenol instead of fighting against it, gently supporting your circulation and digestion all together as a team. So treat your humble cloves like a talented solo performer who needs a quiet, respectful stage to shine on, not a loud, noisy crowd drowning them out completely. Now let's talk about a mistake involving freshness. Number 2, using old, stale, or pre-ground powdered cloves. We're getting very close now to the single most important mistake of them all, but this particular one might honestly be the most overlooked of the entire bunch, and it's all about the actual quality and freshness of the cloves currently sitting in your kitchen cupboard. So let's be really honest with each other for a moment here. How long truly has that little jar of ground cloves been quietly sitting in your kitchen? 2 years? 3? Maybe even 5 long years. Maybe if you're like most people, you genuinely can't even remember the day you first bought it. Well, here is the hard, simple truth you need to hear. Cloves are absolutely not immortal, and the very moment they get ground down into a fine powder, they immediately begin losing their precious power at an alarming and rapid speed. That wonderfully delicate eugenol oil, the one single thing that makes cloves so special and so good for you, starts evaporating and oxidizing the very instant the clove is crushed open and exposed to air, light, and the moisture around it. Those pre-ground cloves you grab from the store shelf may have already been sitting in warehouses and on shelves for many long months before you ever even brought them home, already drained of half their benefits. Careful research that actually measured the volatile oil content inside spices found that ground cloves can lose up to a shocking 50% of their active healing compounds within just 6 short months of being ground, and even more than that as the months and years keep dragging on. That sobering number means your old powder might genuinely be giving you barely half, or honestly far, far less, of what truly fresh cloves would proudly offer your body. Imagine for a second buying a nice, cold, fizzy can of soda, cracking it open with that satisfying hiss, and then just leaving it forgotten on the kitchen counter for a whole entire week. By the time you finally come back and drink it, all the fizz, all the sparkle, all the life and bubbles are completely and utterly gone, leaving it flat, sad, and lifeless. That, my friend, is exactly what happens to stale, old ground cloves over time. So here's your simple fix to all of it. Always choose to buy whole cloves instead of the powder, and then store them safely in a tightly sealed, airtight little jar, kept well away from any sunlight and heat, somewhere lovely and cool and dark like a closed pantry cabinet. Whole cloves will faithfully keep all of their precious oils sealed up tightly and safely inside for a full year or sometimes even longer, since their protective hard outer structure locks absolutely everything good in. Then, whenever you actually need them, you simply grind only the small amount you'll use right at that very moment, or far better yet, just steep the lovely whole cloves exactly as they are. A genuinely good, fresh clove should still feel just slightly oily when you firmly press it between your fingers, and it should release a sharp, strong, powerful aroma, not some faint, weak, dusty little whisper of a smell. If your cloves smell weak and tired, then trust me, they truly are weak and tired, and they are doing very little real good for you. And now, the mistake you've been waiting for. Number 1, using cloves without knowing your medication risks. Here it finally is, the single most important and most dangerous mistake of them all, and the one that nearly everyone over the age of 60 quietly makes every single day without even the faintest idea of the real danger hiding inside it. This one isn't about how you carefully brew them, or when in the day you choose to drink them, or even how wonderfully fresh they happen to be. No, this critical one is all about using cloves while you're also taking daily medication, completely and totally unaware of just how powerfully the two of them interact inside your body. You see, after the age of 60, the simple reality is that most people are taking at least one daily medication of some kind, very often for managing their blood pressure, their blood sugar levels, or for gently thinning their blood, and cloves quietly interfere with every single one of those three things. Eugenol, that very same wonderful and healing compound we've been praising this whole time, also carries a strong natural blood thinning effect all on its own. Now, entirely on its own, in a healthy person, that effect is actually a very good and healthy thing. But the moment you combine it together with an actual blood thinning medication prescribed by your doctor, you can suddenly amplify that thinning effect to a dangerous degree, seriously raising your risk of easy bruising or even unexpected bleeding. One important study actually found that eugenol significantly inhibited platelet activity, which is the very natural process that helps your blood clot properly when you need it to, by a real and measurable margin during careful laboratory testing. And that is most certainly not nothing to brush aside. On top of all that, Cloves also work to lower your blood sugar, and solid research clearly showed that regular clove intake reduced fasting blood sugar levels by around 15 to 20% in some of the participants studied. Now, that sounds absolutely wonderful if you happen to be perfectly healthy, but it becomes genuinely risky if you're already taking diabetes medication, because the two working together could end up pushing your blood sugar dangerously and uncomfortably too low. Think of it like two strong people both pushing the very same swing hard from behind at once. One single gentle push is lovely and safe, but two strong, powerful pushes happening at the same exact time, and suddenly someone goes flying right off and gets hurt badly. That is precisely your body on cloves combined carelessly with medication. So here is your simple, but absolutely essential and life-protecting fix. Before you ever make cloves a regular daily habit in your life, you must first talk openly to your doctor or your trusted pharmacist, especially if you take anything at all for your blood, your sugar, or your pressure. Now, please understand, this is not about scaring you away from cloves forever, not at all. It's simply about using them wisely, safely, and in the right small amount, which for most people is usually no more than 3 to 5 cloves a day taken in tea form. Carefully space them well away from your medication times, and then watch closely how your own body responds, gently noticing any unusual new bruising, any sudden dizziness, or any strange fatigue. When they're used with real awareness and the full blessing of your doctor, cloves truly remain a beautiful and generous gift to your aging body, gently supporting your heart and your precious cells. But used blindly and carelessly right alongside your daily pills, they can sadly and quietly turn from a gentle helper into a real hidden hazard. Knowledge truly is everything here, and now at last, you finally hold it firmly in your own two hands. And there you have it, the 5 secret mistakes that quietly erase all the wonderful benefits that cloves have to offer you after the age of 60. From boiling them far too hard and hot, to taking them at completely the wrong time of day, to pairing them up with all the wrong foods and drinks, to carelessly letting them grow old and stale in the cupboard, and finally, to forgetting all about their powerful and serious interaction with your daily medications. Each one of these seems so small and innocent on its own, but together they can truly mean the entire difference between a humble spice that genuinely protects your precious health and one that sadly does almost nothing for you at all. But here's the truly good news to hold on to. Every single one of these mistakes is wonderfully easy to fix the moment you simply know about it. And now, my friend, you finally do. So treat your cloves with real care, respect their quiet power, and they will faithfully work to gently support your heart, your aching joints, and your whole body for many good years still to come. If you found this video genuinely helpful today, please do take just one small moment to subscribe to the channel so that you never miss another one of these simple, science-backed health tips made especially for you. And thank you so very much from the bottom of my heart for watching all the way through to the very end.